Welcome everyone. Today we're going to talk about one of my favorite decks in Vibes. The deck we're going to talk about is the Purple Recycler deck. This deck is super powerful and super fun to play. One of the other things I really like about this deck is you end up drawing a lot of cards, which means you have a lot of agency in making your own decisions. I think this deck is roughly on the same power level as the red Mega Penguin deck, for which I previously made a guide. I'm going to leave a link to that guide in the description. All right, so in this video today, we're going to first talk about the construction of the deck. So go through each of the cards, talk about their role in the deck, and then we're going to talk a little bit about the strategy of the deck. After which, we're going to jump into some games. Depending on the length of the game, we're either going to probably do one or two. All right, so let's get started with the cards in the deck. Now, this deck has a few different categories of cards, but one of the really cool things about this deck is many of the cards actually serve multiple categories. So it's going to be not super clean how to get through them. But let's start with the removal category. So one of the key goals of this deck is to remove all of your opponent's penguins, or all of their key penguins, let's say it like that. So to start with that, the first piece of removal we're going to use is GotEm. GotEm is such a powerful piece of a removal for a few reasons. So first of all, it doesn't cost any pudge. And there's so many really critical 2-vibe minions that are in the meta, such as Ascending Penguins, PenguinWhoosOK, Wizard Penguins. Plus, this deck really runs on a very light number of rods. So anyway, 4 GotEms. Let's start the removal package there. All right. After that, the next piece of removal is AdventureSquad. AdventureSquad is really powerful in this deck as well because almost all of your penguins have a very small vibe. And so it's really easy to always find a target for AdventureSquad on your side. And on your opponent's side, it's really, really good at taking out big threats. And the last piece of removal is HaveaPhilosophicalDebate. Now, this piece of removal is really cool because really strong because there's no way, like AdventureSquad, your opponent can ice the penguin that's on your side or maybe boost its vibe or adjust the equation, whereas HaveaPhilosophicalDebate really has way less conditions attached. Now, the one thing you'll notice about this card is this is the first card that cares about your ice. That'll be one of the big themes in this deck is basically getting cards into your ice, and have a philosophical debate is one of the main things you can actually do with those cards. And then the last piece, I'm going to call this removal, even though it also serves as a great pudge producing penguin, is ProsperousPenguin, because it basically lets you get an action card with pudge cost of 2 from your ice and lets you play it again. So this is one of the big value engines in the deck, as well as produces pudge, as well as actually just gives you additional removal. So this card is super, super strong in this deck, and it's honestly one of the cornerstones of the deck. All right, so now that we have our removal package, let's talk about our icing package. Because we already talked about have a philosophical debate. So how are we going to actually get cards into our ice? Well, the most important card for that is PenguinWhoosOK. This card basically, whenever you draw a card, it lets you ice a top card of either deck. And so for this deck, we'll be always icing our own deck. Maybe there's some situations where we play against blue where we wouldn't do that, but in general, we'll always want to be icing our own deck. So I'll put 4 of that in. And then another card that's really strong at icing is BrainyPenguin. So BrainyPenguin also starts getting into the card draw direction. So what BrainyPenguin lets you do is it lets you draw 2 cards and then, or ice up to 2 cards and then draw that many cards. BrainyPenguin plus PenguinWhoosOK is actually a really strong combo because if you do that on turn 2 and 3, then you'll basically end up icing 4 cards total. All right, and now let's talk about the card draw package. So again, like I said, a lot of the things have dual purposes here. So the first really strong piece of card draw is ChangePerspective. Now, This card basically lets you draw 3 cards whenever you play it. However, one of those is going to go into your ice at least. However, in this deck, that's not really that negative because you're really trying to build up your ice as well. One of the really sad things about this card is it doesn't work with PenguinWhoosOK, but you know, the game, I think it would be super broken if that combo worked. The other thing that I really like about this card is I almost always take the 2-card pile at the beginning of the game, but at the end of the game, when you really need that one specific card to close out the game, it actually gives you 3 tries at getting that card. All right. The other really strong card draw engine is OverwhelmWithKnowledge. So this basically lets you draw a card, and then when it's in your ice, you can ice a rod to draw another card. So this is one of those cards that's part of the card draw package as well as the ice package. And then the final piece of card draw is going to be ChangePerspective. And what ChangePerspective, or ChaseYourDreams, sorry. ChaseYourDreams. And what ChaseYourDreams lets you do is you can basically, it's just a super value engine because you can just draw a card playing it from the ice. And this card will always end up in your ice without you, as like kind of a secondary effect to what other cards are doing. So, if, for example, it could be discarded from a BrainyPenguin. And so it ends up really being one of the big card advantage engines of this deck as well. All right, now let's talk about the penguin side of things. So we'll start by talking about the just straight up Pudge producing penguins. So this deck is very Pudge heavy, so we'll definitely need some wizard penguins. Where is Purple Wizard? Here. So PurpleWizardPenguin, super strong, 2 Pudge for 2 fish, unrivaled. And then also the card that's actually my favorite card in the deck by far, PenguinWhoRunstheLift. This card is absolutely bonkers in this deck. So in the early game, it actually has a low vibe, which is a positive because it works well with AdventureSquad. And you really don't want to be winning the vibe check because you want to be drawing as many cards as possible. But in the late game, it actually becomes almost very frequently will become an 8 vibe penguin, which is typically enough to close out the game because you have all this removal going on to be removing all of the opponent's penguins, which are greater than 8 vibe. All right. And so then the final 4 cards, this is going to actually be a split. We're going to put in 2 Bunkus. So Bunkus, again, this is a cornerstone of the deck. What this deck, Bunkus is really your closer. So at the end of the game, Bunkus will typically come out, be like a 12-15 or 12-16, something like that size vibe. Plus, it really lets you, in those long games, really just keep recycling your deck over and over and over again. I remember I played one game against a yellow control deck where I think I went through, it took over an hour, and I think I went through my deck probably 3 or 4 times. And Bunkus was just the engine to continuously fill my deck over and over again. And then the last penguin is also super key, which is CookingPenguin. So one of the things that this deck does really, really well is recover from a board wipe. So if your opponent clears the board, CookingPenguin is one of those cards that just immediately lets you get back to having 2-3 Pudge on the board. And CookingPenguin is also just one of those, like, whenever you have dead turns, it'll usually just end up in your ice naturally from like a PenguinWhoosOK or a BrainyPenguin, or maybe you'll play it as a rod, and then with OverwhelmWithKnowledge or with your other CookingPenguin get into your ice. So again, it's just one of those cards that really lets you turn your rods into penguins, which in lots of places is very useful. All right. Oh, I only need 2 of that. All right, so there you have it. So this I would call is the 48 out of 52 core cards. So now let's talk a little bit about tech cards. So I think there's 2 cards that I generally go back and forth on between what I think are the best cards to finish out the deck. And so I run 2 of each. So the first one is MoonlitPenguin. I just find that against the faster decks, against red, against yellow, you really want to have a strong early game, just a lot of Pudge on the board, and MoonlitPenguin helps you do that. And then let's talk about the other card I play, which is PurpleMegaPenguin. So PurpleMegaPenguin is just a really beefy mid-game card that can also really help close out games because it has 6 vibe, and it lets you get back a card. Your ice will always be full, so you usually have a very deep selection, and so, it could be that extra piece of removal you need. It could be that PenguinWhoosOK, which got iced. It could be that ChangePerspective if you need a card draw, or maybe a BrainyPenguin. So I really like this card in there. If I was playing a lot of greens and slower decks, I would play 4 PurpleMegaPenguins. And otherwise, I would play 4 MoonlitPenguins. All right, so here is the core list. So now let's talk really briefly about cards that I think people will be tempted to put in this deck, but that I've tried a lot and I think just do not fit in the deck. The first one is Ascending Penguin. Ascending Penguin, in my opinion, it is a strong card, but it needs to be built around. Like, if you want this card, you should be playing Bashful Swordsman. You should be playing maybe some of those other, maybe Penguin with a Flag or Ambitious Penguin. But this deck just has so many small penguins that, 4 fish for that effect is not very strong. The one argument I think you could make for Ascending Penguin is your opponent might not know exactly that it's a bad card for you, and it's one of those cards you just need to get off the board. So it is a bit of like it distracts your opponent. But I think as your opponents, as the meta gets more solidified, that type of plan I think is not very good. The other card, which I want to like, but just doesn't work in this deck, is Study All Night. And the reason for that is this deck is really focused on is really focused on card advantage, not actually on building up your ice. And Study All Night is actually card disadvantage. You're basically spending 1 card to draw 2 cards and ice 2 cards, so the net effect is you're down 1 card. So this deck, this would be good in like a Bismo type deck, but it's not really. The Recycler deck is really more about value than about getting through your deck as fast as possible. And it's in a similar vein. What is also a card that is really just focused on getting through your deck as fast as possible, which is not what this deck is all about. So I think those are the cards that I would avoid putting in here. But okay, so let's talk about budget substitutions, since I know that not everyone has access to every card. So when we go through here, I think these are all commons and uncommons with the exception of BrainyPenguin. So BrainyPenguin, while important, is not critical to the deck. Like, if you don't have BrainyPenguins, I think what you can put in is more MoonlitPenguins, more Mega Penguins. Of course, you probably don't have that many Mega Penguins. You can even go CookingPenguin as a 4 of. And then the other card that I think is, besides Mega Penguin and MoonlitPenguin, and CookingPenguin, yeah. So I think those cards I would fill out the deck with. One other thing that you might not have is 2 Bunkus. So you really need 1 Bunkus. If you don't have 1 Bunkus, I don't think you can play this deck. However, if you only have 1 Bunkus, I would put in a Galaxy Penguin in place of the 2nd Bunkus. Oh, and when we're talking about tech cards, I think another thing you could tech in is the 3rd or the 4th Bunkus. There are certain matchups where this card is just so strong, and so you really just want to have as many copies of it as possible. All right. Oh yeah, I missed 1 card. One other card that I want to like, but just does not work in this deck is Spring Break. And the reason for that is you don't want to be wiping your own board. This is a tempo board control deck. You're spending all these resources to remove your opponent's threats. So why would you then reset the board? I think, again, there is a separate purple deck that's something with like Spring Breaks, Ascendings, Study All Nights, that type of card package. But this deck is just not that deck. All right. So now we talked about the deck list. Let's talk about the just overall strategy of the deck. So what you're trying to accomplish here is control the board and get card advantage. So you have a bunch of card advantage engines, which are all through drawing, like with Chase Your Dreams, Change Perspective, Phosphorus Penguin, and then you have that whole removal package we talked about. So you just want to just keep removing your opponent's threats getting through your deck, building up your ice, drawing cards, and then near the end of the game, you're going to just have several Penguin who run the lift, which are all at 8-5, and you're just going to have a giant Bunkus. So that's kind of the game plan of the deck. And all right, before we jump into some games, let's talk about mulligans. So there are a decent amount of two-cost minions in this deck. So the ones you really, really want in the mulligan are PenguinWhoosOK and PurpleWizardPenguin. So I would definitely keep those. And then for the 3-drop, the only one you really want is BrainyPenguin. So in general, those are the 3 penguins I would keep. And then I would also keep GotEm as early game removal. So, however, if you already have some of them, like if you had a BrainyPenguin and a, let's say your hand was like BrainyPenguin, MoonlitPenguin, PenguinWhoRunstheLift, ChangePerspective, and GotEm. In that case, because I already have 3 purple Pudge and a ChangePerspective, which is a great card advantage card, and I already have some early game removal, I might consider keeping that whole hand. So the mulligan is definitely a little flexible, but I think when in doubt, focus on having minions penguins. And yeah, I think in general, the ones you really, really want are PenguinWhoosOK and BrainyPenguin. All right, so let's save the deck and let's jump into some games. All right, so let's see what we got. All right, so we got a CookingPenguin wizard, so we definitely want to keep the wizard. Well, we have 2 wizards. So the question is, do we want to keep 2 wizards? So CookingPenguin definitely don't want to keep. Same with Megapenguin, and have a philosophical debate because this needs you to have cards in your ice, and we don't have any at the beginning. I don't think we want to keep 2 purple wizard penguins because this card is really like, you know, you really only need 1 because the big break point for the actions in this deck is 3 Pudge, ChangePerspective, for example. And so, this is a really good hand. So what we basically have is we have PenguinWhoosOK, then we have basically 3 Pudge and 2 ChangePerspectives. So the one thing that would mess up this hand is if they had removal for anything. I also think it's probably too greedy to keep 2 ChangePerspectives. So one of those is probably going to become a rod, but let's see what we draw. And also let's see what deck they're playing. So if they were playing maybe a yellow or a red, I definitely would not be trying to play 2 ChangePerspectives. All right, well, ProsperousPenguin, we don't have any of the removal that goes with it in our ice. However, we might get it with ChangePerspective. So I think I'm going to actually play 1 ChangePerspective down. The reason for that is we don't have any removal, and I'd rather have the flexibility if this is going to be one of those games where we really need a lot of removal. We'd rather keep ProsperousPenguin, although I'm pretty sure that's going to become the rod next turn. We also don't have a 3-drop, but again, this is not going to be a good card to play on turn 3 in general unless you're really desperate. I'd rather just be playing the Penguin who's the lift or something like that. The other thing that can happen with this deck is you actually completely skip the 3-drop because you'll play PenguinWhoosOK on turn 2. You'll win the vibe check, you'll get a rod, and then you can play two drops on turn 4. But all right, so looks like this is probably some sort of either blue deck or it's going to be a like Blurple deck. So if it's a blue deck, it's a really, really good matchup because they basically will fill our ice for us. But all right, so I think given that, we probably do want to really remove this. So, but yeah, I think I'm going to put the ProsperousPenguin down and also play my own PenguinWhoosOK. The reason for that is we just need to assume it's some sort of purple Bunkus, maybe Bismo type deck. Like, if it's a blue deck, it's going to be such a good matchup that we might as well play as if it's the purple deck. But we'll know very soon when we see which ice they put the card into. Yeah, so let's see what happens. This is always the very exciting part. Will it be my ice or their ice? But anyway, oh, their ice. Okay, yeah, so this is definitely some purple deck. So it's good we played PenguinWhoosOK. So this is probably going to be a race because Bismo is one of those decks that you're just really trying to finish the game as quickly as possible. The other thing with Bismo is we really need to have removal for Ascending Penguin. That's how we're going to lose the game, leaving an Ascending Penguin on the board. So because of that, all right, so let's play the Wizard because the Wizard will be flopped. And then next turn we can play a Change Perspective with the Penguin who runs the lift. And let's play one Change Perspective as a rod. As you can see, we now have all 4 of our Change Perspectives already in this game. So sometimes that happens, but that's also why the rod system is so great, because it lets you kind of balance out your hand. So let's see what happens with the Ascending Penguin. So that's really what the main focus of this stage of the game is about now. It's how do we get rid of the Ascending Penguin? And to do that, we're going to need a Adventure Squad or have a philosophical debate. Now, the one really interesting thing is our PenguinWhoosOK did give us an Overwhelm with Knowledge in the ice. So we could actually cycle that. And this is one of the really strong combos of the deck is when we cycle this, we actually get a card back in our ice with a PenguinWhoosOK. And on top of that, I am wondering if we should do that because we don't, well, we have Penguin who runs a lift and we don't have a second card, but if we ice a rod, then we're only going to have 3 rods, so we wouldn't have enough to play a second card anyway. So let's wait 1 turn because maybe we'll draw another PenguinWhoosOK, which would let us basically ice 2 cards for this card. And there would be no benefit in this upcoming turn for having an additional card in our hand at the cost of 1 less rod. So this is again one of the really key interactions of this deck is this Overwhelm with Knowledge and PenguinWhoosOK. So let's see, if Ascending Penguin comes out, we are in trouble because we have no way to deal with it. This is also one of those reasons why Change Perspective is super strong. Oh, that's also really bad. So I don't know if we're going to be able to, so we're going to play the Penguin who runs a lift. We have no way to deal with this Popcorn Penguin either. So hopefully he's going to get rid of our PenguinWhoosOK, which will allow us to still play some of our cards. But yeah, we really need a GotEm, or something to deal with the Popcorn, because this Popcorn is going to be very, very damaging to us. This is one of the cards that this deck really struggles with. So let's play Change Perspective, and let's see what's offered. This would definitely be one of those situations where we might pick the single card option to deal with the Popcorn Penguin. We're also going to, if we don't draw with that, we're going to cycle this Overwhelm with Knowledge. So I guess looking back on the last turn, we probably should have cycled it because it was because it would have gotten us 1 card deeper in our deck to deal with this Popcorn Penguin. And yeah, so what could deal with a Popcorn Penguin? We could deal with it with a GotEm, Adventure Squad, and have a philosophical debate. Well, that's actually an interesting question because if we cycle the Overwhelm with Knowledge, we would then only have 3 cards in our ice because we'll have the Change Perspective, Chase Your Dreams, and PenguinWhoosOK, which is not going to be enough to activate have a philosophical debate on the Popcorn Penguin. But I guess we could play the other Overwhelm with Knowledge, but we'll lose another Penguin. So it's not really clear, but let's see what the options are. And one of the things that I think also makes this deck strong right now is people don't know how to group the cards. Yeah, like this is a terrible grouping because if I were to pick 2 of these 3 cards, I would pick the 2 on the left. So they should have put the Mega Penguin with one of the other cards. All right, he also has a GotEm. So yeah, this is going to be tough, but okay, so we'll oof. So who's he GotEming? The Penguin who runs the lift. Okay, I think again that's good for us because we definitely want the wizard to be able to play the philosophical debate. Oh, actually, yeah. So I was wrong because the Chase Your Dreams also will put an extra card in the ice. So so if we were to cycle this, the problem with that is I really need to be able to play two penguins next turn to have a hope at dealing with the popcorn penguin. Although I think I won't even be able to deal with it next turn. So yeah, because if I have 2 rods, 4 rods, then I could play 2 penguins, but this one is going to come in flopped. All right, so I think we really need GotEm. I think GotEm is the only card that's going to get us out of this. So I think we just draw. We go 1 more card deep, just trying to get GotEm. Because without GotEm, I don't see a way that we can actually get out of this popcorn penguin situation. And so then the question is actually, if we don't get GotEm here, maybe we just let the popcorn penguin, ice itself. Because I don't actually think that we're going to be able to get through it. So yeah, so I think that's actually what I'm thinking now is we need to just let the popcorn penguin ice itself. Oof. Ascending penguin, that's even worse. Yeah, so I think we'll just play Bunkus as a rod. We can always get it back with a change with an overwhelm with knowledge. But this is not good. I think it's gonna be difficult to recover from this. Yeah, because they're also gonna get very far through their deck. Yeah, this is the Bismo deck. So if they didn't play Popcorn Penguin, we would have had no issue at all because this is where we got this in time to have a philosophical debate. We could have taken care of the ascending. And what's really going to just cause us problems is if next turn like a bashing swordsman comes out. But all right, so we need to just wait 1 more turn just to let the popcorn expire. And so this is also one of those reasons why I think MoonlitPenguin, I have 2 in the deck, but I've been always thinking about putting 4 in because another Moonlit would have been really powerful here. So we're going to end up with a ton of cards in our hand, and we're going to really be playing catch up here. So how do we even come back? This is that is a very interesting question. So we're gonna have to, anyway, we'll have to have the popcorn go away. Then we're gonna have to get rid of the ascending penguin. Then we really should be getting rid of both the PenguinWhoosOK. So, but then we also are gonna need to put enough pressure on them to not let them set up for Bismo. So, all right, they played Bunkus. All right, so I don't think that this is that doesn't seem like a great play. But maybe it is. Maybe I'm not thinking through it properly. Okay, so I think we're just gonna go. We'll play our other Bunkus as a rod because that will eventually get into our ice with either a overwhelm with knowledge or a what's it called, cooking penguin. So now let's see what he does with the popcorn. It's actually an interesting position for him. Like, it might make sense to do that to like hold me off for 1 more turn. So yeah, now we've kind of committed to this line. I don't know if this line is actually the right line. I think this makes me think back to the Mulligan. Like, should we have Mulligan more aggressively for GotEm? Because GotEm is a card that would have gotten us out of this situation. So yeah, now the question is what does he play? Like, you know, like a swordsman, a cannonball, something like that could definitely cause problems for us. All right, so they're gonna wait. All right, so anyway, we're in this waiting situation. All right, so I don't see a world. All right, so what becomes a rod? We're gonna just need to like put a bunch of cards quickly on the like play like, you know, 3-4 cards a turn. So Mega Penguin is just gonna be way too slow for what needs to happen. All right, let's see what he does now. All right, so he's committed to this popcorn penguin line. So the question is, how are we going to get rid of Bunkus? And we're going to get rid of Bunkus with an Adventure Squad. Is really the only card we have for that. So, all right, so we have 3 more turns to kind of wait. All right, maybe when we're at 6, it's enough to play everything down. Like if we play everything at once, is that going to work? It's kind of crazy. We still haven't seen a GotEm. So we are almost halfway through our deck. Because at any point, a GotEm would also like save us here. So I really don't know about... But yeah, at this point, I think we're definitely committed to this line. He's down to 27 cards. Definitely trying to go for Bismo. I mean, let's just check his deck. All right, there's no Bismos in his ice yet. But it's also, we haven't drawn, you know, what would be good would be a CookingPenguin or a MoonlitPenguin. Even the Mega Penguin. All right, so now we got a GotEm. So, okay, so now we can finally fight back. All right, so this is going to be the turn. Although at this point I'm thinking, like, should we just GotEm the Ascending Penguin? Maybe. All right, ProsperousPenguin. What is he getting with ProsperousPenguin from his ice? So Spring a Leak, maybe? I think that's our AdventureSquad. So he doesn't have 2 blue Pudge to play Spring a Leak even. Oof, yeah. All right, so this is going to be... Okay, so I think we just got to go this turn. So I think we... all right, so the plan is going to be, we're going to GotEm the popcorn. We're going to play PenguinWhoosOK, Wizard. We'll deal with the Bunkai later. But overall, yeah. All right, so... Okay, so we'll play the GotEm. Okay, so maybe this is actually better. So we'll play the... No. Yeah, because we're going to need all the Pudge we can get. So I think we're going to play PenguinWhoosOK with BrainyPenguin. We're going to get rid of OverwhelmWithKnowledge because, yeah, it's basically the same as playing it to trade it for a new card. We need all the removal. And I guess we're going to get rid of... Do we have ChaseYourDreams yet? Ugh, we really need ChangePerspective too. We need all these cards. But okay, so we're only going to be able to play 3 Penguins next turn. And it's going to be Lift, and Wizard because we'll need to have... yeah, the Lift is... Yeah, I think we'll actually do it like this. No, because this will let us play the ChangePerspective next turn. All right, another GotEm, which is good. So we can take out the Ascending next turn as well. All All right, and we have 2 philosophical debates, which will be good. But yeah, so they're already at 12. So I think we might even not lose to Bismo, but we're gonna lose to Bunkus here. So let's see what happens with the GotEm. Or I mean, like, I don't think they're gonna be able to play the Spring a Leak. So I think we'll be okay there. Yeah, so okay, so next turn we'll play our three penguins. Then we will have 3 Pudge. Well, and we just need to go on removal mode. So I think we'll start with removing the ascending, so with GotEm, so we can remove two next turn with the debate and with ascending. So, and do we need to no, we don't really need to play Overwhelm with Knowledge because we have already our full next turn. We have our Rod and our 3 penguins. So no need to play anything now. So they're down to 11 cards, and they have 1 in hand, 12. So I'm still thinking about the Bunkai. So for them, we need Adventure Squad. So we still haven't seen any of our Adventure Squads. So the rest of our deck should be pretty Adventure Squad heavy. But we're probably going to need 3 Adventure Squads to deal with this Bunkus. So let's see what happens. And they are down to 19 cards. So we don't really have a lot of turns left. So this is going to be difficult. I don't really see a path, but we got to try. And so let's see what happens. Yeah, so we have 2 pieces of removal, 3 pieces of removal. They're at 13 plus 14, so we can get them. Yeah, and they keep doing this, which is like negative on, like, I think that they're too focused on winning with Bismo and not enough focused on winning the traditional way. But all right, so the question is, I think we just have to be, this is one of those situations where you have to assume everything's going to go right. So, yeah, so that's why we play the 2 penguins, the 2 wizards, because we need a 2 Pudge for 1 piece of removal here. All right, so what do we need to remove? We need to remove, all right, so I think we definitely remove the ascending. And then I think we have to remove the PenguinWhoosOK because these guys, Penguin Who Breaks the 4th Wall is going to keep coming back. So the way we're going to deal with that is we're just going to have a Bunkus that's bigger than this, which we can easily do. So we need 2 Adventure Squads. So I think we'll also draw with Overwhelm with Knowledge this turn and get one of our Bunkai out and about. So we'll get them from our Rod into our ice, so we can play it next turn because we also don't have anything to play. So let's let this resolve. Always let the removal resolve. All right. So then, what do we want to do with have a philosophical debate? I think we'll do the PenguinWhoosOK because we're going to need every card in our ice as possible for playing Bunkus next turn. So I think we'll do that. Yeah, so we'll remove the PenguinWhoosOK, and that will. What will that do for us? All right, yeah, again, we still need to deal with both the Bunkai. And so yeah, so the game plan is we're going to Adventure Squad both of the Bunkai, and we're going to play our own Bunkus to outscale the 9/5 ones. All right, so what do we want back in our deck? We want back in our deck removal, but I think we want 2 cards. So I think we'll put 1 GotEm and this, because yeah, I think no, let's do this, because the only way we're coming back is with removal, and removing these 9 vibe 9 vibe penguins is going to be required. All right, so then we're also like, we don't have we're going to want to play Bunkus next turn. So we will we'll get Bunkus into our ice, so we can play it from there and draw another card. So yeah, so the goal is that we want our Bunkus to be at least 30. All right, so maybe now we don't need to play Bunkus. We can wait 1 more turn because we have BrainyPenguin. We have so we have 5, and we'll have 5 fish. So I think we'll wait 1 more turn. I think we can afford to wait 1 more turn. Somehow we still need 2 adventure squads, at least. And they're at 12 cards. So okay, so we finally got control of the board again. All right, so this ProsperousPenguin will be good for removal. But yeah, I think so I think we'll play both of these, and then we can play, like, we have 6 Pudge of card draw / cycle. All right, so yeah, so we'll play BrainyPenguin first. So we'll definitely get rid of ChaseYourDreams. I think the other card, I think ProsperousPenguin will be very good because we really need Adventure Squad. So I think the other card, OverwhelmWithKnowledge, doesn't do anything. Like you're basically paying 1 Pudge to then swap it for a new card, so why not just swap it for free? So we'll do that. All right, so we got him. And again, you notice I didn't play a rod before I played the BrainyPenguin because I wanted to see in case I got him. All right, so now should we play PenguinWhoRunstheLift? Like, is that going to matter? So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 Pudge. So we're going to spend 3. So yeah, there's no break point. We're going from 7 to 8. No, it does matter a lot. Yes. Okay, so we want to play PenguinWhoRunstheLift because we have a ChaseYourDreams and a ChangePerspective and a HaveaPhilosophicalDebate. So it definitely is a good break point to have 8 Pudge. So we can play 3 things. Although maybe with ChangePerspective we'll draw removal. If we end up drawing an Adventure Squad with it, should we play it this turn so we can phosphorus it next turn? Probably yes. And we really want to force them to play another Bunkus to get them more cards in their deck, because that's how we're going to lose. Okay, so first, all right, so we'll GotEm. Let's GotEm the Bottle Penguin, just because I'm worried about losing to Bismo. So, like, we're going to try to keep that game plan as short as possible. And then, yeah, so let's let this stack resolve. The reason I put this on this stack was that, maybe there's a card in his ice that will matter for reacting to GotEm. Probably not. I can't think of a card where that matters. But anyway. Yeah, so they're really going for this trying to get their deck down. So yeah, so I think, all right, so we need to get rid of both of their Bunkai, play our own Bunkus that's bigger, and force them, because they're really just trying to cycle down to Bismo now. And they're pretty close. So it's good we're getting rid of the Bottle Penguin. But the thing about playing OverwhelmWithKnowledge is it doesn't actually get you closer to closing your deck, because you're drawing a card, but you're putting a card back in your deck. So I'm not sure. So it must be digging for something specific. And I'm also going to have to, okay, wait. So the Penguin who break the 4th wall, also, they only have 1 card in hand. I mean, obviously they'll draw more, but I feel like our Bunkus is going to be able to outscale, not his Bunkus, but his Penguin who break the 4th wall. Yeah, so let's see. Let's see what happens. Oh, the bottle penguin gets canceled by the GotEm. I honestly did not even know that. Let me read the text on that. Well, I don't want to open the, because I've had the game crash when I open the, All right, so now I think it's time to actually play Change Perspective because I want to not give them the option to have additional cards in hand before this resolves. So let's play that. All right, so what do we actually want? Ideally, we want removal. We want Adventure Squad because we're just going to have to deal with both Bunkai. Yeah, so if we could play an Adventure Squad this turn, it would be super great because what that would let us do is next turn play ProsperousPenguin. So I think this is one of those situations where we would pick the individual Adventure Squad. But we didn't get one. So I think we'll take group 2 because the GotEm can still take out the... do we just double philosophical debate? No, because... Yeah, let's do this. All right. So they're down to 8 cards. So it's not looking good for us. So let's chase your dreams now. And again, ideally we want an Adventure Squad because the way we're going to win this game is by removing both Bunkai. And we probably have like just a turn left. Okay, so we got an Adventure Squad. Perfect. All right, so we're gonna play an Adventure Squad to get rid of one Bunkai now. Because actually next turn, no, we don't have enough. We don't have enough cards in our ice. All right, so we'll play Adventure Squad, and we'll pick a Penguin who runs a lift, just to prevent a GotEm from removing our 2-cost, our 2-vibe penguins in response. So yeah, so let's see. So we got a... All right, so we'll take care. So if we're really, really lucky, they're going to play Bunkus next turn, but I think that's not going to happen. But we also want to just get rid of their... yeah. Okay, so... Again, we have to play to our outs. So I think our outs are... We need to get a Bunkus that's larger than 10, or that's 10 or larger. We then need to draw our next Adventure Squad to get rid of the other Bunkus, and we need to have 15 cards on our or 14 cards on our side next turn. Because I think this is going to be the last turn. Because I think they're going to play Bismo the turn after that. So how are we going to do this? Yeah, so we'll play ProsperousPenguin to get Adventure Squad. Yeah, so I think it's possible. So there is a path, right? Well, how many cards do we have to play? We'll have to play 1, 2, 3, 4. So we can play a rod and 2. No, so we can only play we can only play 1. Or we're gonna be 1 card short. All right, but okay, so technically... All right, so technically they still have 4 cards in their deck. So maybe there's still, okay, so we'll definitely have to play ProsperousPenguin to get AdventureSquad back. Then we're going to play GotEm. And then we're going to play a, let's see, do we want, I think we want to play the Penguin Who's Okay. Because, well, let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 10, does 10 a good break point? Yeah, 10 is actually a really good break point. Okay, let's do, but we don't, okay, let's play this. I feel like my ice needs more cards in it. Just because we're going to have to play a philosophical debate. All right, so they're at 4 cards. All right, so the GotEm is going to deal with a bottle penguin. Again, I'm not sure that this is how this is supposed to work. So we'll do this again. I feel like reading this card, I think it shouldn't actually be canceling this action. But anyway, I guess I'll have to ask that in the rules channel later. But yeah, okay, so either way, they're at 4. So depending on what they have, because, right, we have 1 turn until Bismo. All right, so they're going to play AdventureSquad to try to get rid of one of our minions. So I think in response, we can, yeah, because we definitely need to get rid of the Penguin Who's Okay as well. So we'll have a philosophical debate, the Penguin Who's Okay. So that's going to cancel this AdventureSquad because the icing, like, the condition is not going to be able to be met because this penguin will not be available for icing. All right, so let's let this stack resolve. So put 2 cards back. All right, so what do I need? I just need removal. But I'm not going to put the AdventureSquad back because I still have that one to play. So yeah, let's just do that. Sorry, I'm a little, yeah, I should have looked more deeply there what I should do. All right, so then we have the other Adventure-Squad. So they have 4 cards in their deck. So we have the other Adventure-Squad that we can play from our ice to get rid of the Bunkus. So we'll do that. Let's do that now. Let's use the Penguin Who Runs the Lift again, just because in case they have a GotEm. So let's let this resolve. And then, yeah, so we really need to win next game because I'm sure the card in their hand is Bismo. And so if they have a Bismo, they have 4 cards. So then we also want to, okay, so now we still have additional Pudge left. So let's play Chase Your Dreams just to get an additional card. Because maybe we'll get another piece of removal for this penguin who breaks the 4th wall. Because I would really like to tie the vibe check. Because that will just give us 1 more turn. So let's see if there's anything else in here. But I don't want to use this Overwhelm with Knowledge, but so I guess I'll cycle the one in my hand. I guess we're not going to win the vibe check. Or tie the vibe check. Just because, yeah, so we'll cycle that. All right, see, oh, so we had GotEm. So I think it was really, really good that we were playing around GotEm. Okay, so 12. All right, so we really want to have 14. Ideally, we'd have 15 cards next turn, but that's not happening. Oh, no, it will happen because we're also going to play Bunkus. All right, so we're down to the final turn because they are 1 turn away from Bismo. And maybe if they had like a BrainyPenguin. No, they couldn't win with a BrainyPenguin, I don't think. So yeah, so they have 2 cards. Also, is there a way we can deck them? If they, yeah, so can we deck them? That's an interesting question. So with Penguin Who's Okay, we potentially could. But yeah, I think without it, they have 2 cards. Well, they're going to get decked unless the vibe check gets tied anyway. But let's try to win either way traditionally. All right, so I think the way we're going to do this is, right, okay, we definitely want to play this. Well, do we want to play BrainyPenguin? I guess BrainyPenguin's the same. All right, so we'll play Moonlit as a rod. We'll play BrainyPenguin to get rid of both Chase Your Dreams. Oh, perfect, another piece of removal. Then we're going to play PenguinWhoRunstheLift, and then we're going to play Bunkus. So we're going to actually just, since the last play, we're basically just going to put actions back to make Bunkus as big as possible. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I want to leave the draw cards in there because I need to draw though. 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay, so let's do that. So Bunkus is 14, which is fine. So now, all right, so now we are set up to win the game. So let's see what they have to go here. Now, I think one thing I'm going to say is, even if we win this game, we definitely should have lost this game. I don't know exactly what their misplays were, but it just feels like that popcorn penguin was such good value against us. All right, so do we do anything? No, I think, okay, because right now we're winning. So let's just wait. Okay, so that was a mistake. We should have just cycled Overwhelm with Knowledge, because that would give us one more card to respond to whatever comes next. So yeah, so let's do that this time. Let's play this Overwhelm with Knowledge. The reason we're doing that is just so that, let's say that they draw a card that they then, like let's say they have an Adventure Squad. If we then got to have a philosophical debate, that would then be in our hand to respond to the Adventure Squad that they just drew. So I think, okay, so now they're just cycling. Do we want to do the same thing with the Chase Your Dream? No, I think, yeah, I guess we can. I guess we'll also just cycle a Chase Your Dream. Just because we want an additional card again to respond to, but I think they're just going to keep cycling, because I think their deck might literally just be overwhelmed with knowledge at this point. So, okay, so at this point, let's just let this resolve. All right, so we're going to play another game, just because I feel like this game did not really showcase the main characteristics of this deck. So yeah, so let's jump back in the queue, and we'll play one more game. But yeah, that was definitely, the Popcorn Penguin was definitely a huge setback for us. And I think that also just makes me really think about the Moonlit Penguin. Like, should we actually be playing 4 Moonlits instead of 2 Moonlit, 2 Mega? I don't know. Anyway, against Popcorn, that definitely would be better. But let's jump back in the queue, and we'll play one more game, and then we'll see if that game doesn't have a popcorn in it. All right, getting ready for our second match. Let's hope that we are doing a little better than the last one. I mean, like I said, I think even though we did end up winning, I think that was not going to be the case. In a lot of ways, that game could have panned out. All right, so PenguinWhoosOK is very, very strong in this deck. So I think we want to keep actually both. Purple Penguin. Okay, so we definitely don't want the Mega Penguin. I like the Wizard. We do have some removal. So I think we want to keep this hand. Although we don't have a way to deal with Popcorn. So maybe we get rid of Adventure Squad. Is that worth it to look for GotEm? No, let's do this. Let's look for GotEm. I think maybe I'm just overreacting to the previous game, but let's see what happens here. Okay, so as a rod, Chase Your Dream is a really good rod. Eventually, it'll go to the ice with OverwhelmWithKnowledge. So we're happy doing that. We have 2 PenguinWhoosOK, so our ice should get super full. So let's see. So they are not playing a 1-drop, so maybe not yellow, maybe not red, because those are the 2 main decks that have 1-drops. But again, you don't necessarily have to have them in your hand, so it's still not really clear. Okay, so they are red. So red means we're going to have to deal with Popcorn Penguin again. All right, so I think we'll put down the Penguin Who Runs the Lift because, because we want to play Change Perspective, which needs one of these. These are, the Penguin Who's Okay are super valuable. So we'll do this. We want to play Penguin Who's Okay, because also what's going to be really nice here is we're going to win the vibe check, and then we can play 2 2-drops next turn. Which is going to be very, very powerful. And what did we get? Oh, GotEm. Ho, ho, ho. All right. We finally are not going to get wrecked by Popcorn Penguin. That is very exciting. All right, so we're going to want to play the Wizard and the Penguin Who's Okay. All right, so then the turn after that, we'll want to be playing Change Perspective. So we don't want to actually... So if we keep the other Wizard, that will enter flopped. So we won't have 3 Pudge to play the Change Perspective. So I think we have to play the Wizard now as a rod. We play these 2. Then next turn we play Penguin Who Runs the Lift. This will be unflopped. And this will all be actually before unfortunately Popcorn will be able to come out. So if Popcorn comes out, Popcorn could take out our Wizard. Although the thing is, and again, like we would never, ever, 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 never use GotEm on Pudge producing penguins like the Red Wizard Penguin in this type of situation. Because if Popcorn Penguin comes out, we will lose the game. We do not have, this deck is so weak to Popcorn Penguin. So you need to be thinking about it and be ready to, remove it. Also, I have found that it's almost impossible to stop your opponent from having enough Pudge to do stuff. All right, well, I guess our Wizard Penguin is not going to survive. But that's okay. Because with this deck, we're gonna be playing a bit of a having 2 Penguin Who's Okay out there is gonna just create such a huge advantage because our ice is gonna get so big. All right, so let's see. So we will do that, and hopefully we'll get an Overwhelm with Knowledge. Oh, no, we didn't. All right, so I want to play the Penguin Who Runs the Lift. Now, I don't really want to play Chase Your Dream as a rod, and the reason for that is BrainyPenguin. Also, there's that red card that's like heads I win, tails you lose. So because of both of those, I'd rather have this in my hand. But yeah, so we are in the situation where I do regret holding on to Change Perspective. Like I'd rather would have had another Wizard Penguin in my hand, because then I could be playing Chase Your Dreams to draw a card. So I'm definitely too greedy with a card draw in this deck, and I know that's a problem that I have. So yeah, but this game also here, this is a perfect example of why CookingPenguin is so critical in this deck. Because if we got a CookingPenguin in our ice with Penguin Who's Okay, we could actually play the CookingPenguin out of our ice and trade a rod for a penguin. I'm wondering if this is the red list that I made the guide for. Again, I'll put a link to that in the description. All right, so yeah, so I guess we need to choose a penguin. So I can make a penguin that's going to be immune to Popcorn Penguin. So what penguin would I want to be immune to Popcorn Penguin? I think I'll do the Penguin Who Runs the Lift. And the reason for that is I really need Pudge. Plus, this at 9, well, that's not actually a good breakpoint, but yeah, I think the reason I'm doing that is for the Pudge the Pudge, protecting my Pudge. But maybe that was wrong. Maybe I should be protecting the Penguin who's okay. I should have thought about that more. That was definitely just an impulse, quick play. So let's see what we get. Oh, another Penguin who's okay. So you really cannot have too many Penguin who's okay. So I know this seems crazy, but in this type of game, because look, we already got Bunkus here. So we can actually play Bunkus next turn probably. It would be even better if we were losing the vibe checks. Oh, now we're going to lose a vibe check. So, because if we lose a vibe check now, each turn 6 cards are going to go into our ice, which is just such a high number. So, yeah, so I think we'll be playing Bunkus next turn. I don't see a unless we draw maybe a Mega Penguin would be something, but I don't really want to sacrifice any Penguin right now. And that's again, Mega Penguin is, that's why we don't run 4 of that, because it's a very like situationally it's amazing, but there are definitely lots of times where you don't really want to be using it. All right, so now this definitely is looking like a Bunkus turn. So let's think about what we want to put back in our deck. So I really would like to keep one piece of removal. Oh, there's a Popcorn Penguin. Just like I thought. Okay, so all right, so ideally we want to have 3 Purple Pudge so that we can play one of our card draw spells. So I think, can we get away with 8? Yeah, with Bunkus, yeah. So this is going to be perfect. So we're going to play Chase Your Dreams as a rod. Then we're going to play PenguinWhoRunstheLift. So now we need to put 5 cards back, or 7 cards with Bunkus. So we want to keep 1 piece of removal in case for Phosphorus. So we need to do 7. And so, okay, so what will we put back? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So the problem with this is we need to leave at least 1 minion. So let's get rid of, let's leave Moonlit in there, and we'll get rid of a Chase Your Dreams. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay. This is one of the big, so right, it's very important that you leave at least something in there, because otherwise Bunkus will have 0 vibe, and then he'll immediately die. So now we'll see what he takes out. So honestly, I really hope that he takes out a Penguin who's okay. I guess because then we will have Pudge to play a 3-mana spell. And again, okay, so first thing we're going to do is get rid of the Popcorn Penguin. So it's really, really important that we save that GotEm for that, because, right, like I said, we saw what happened with Popcorn Penguin last game. So now, after we do this, we do now finally have these Overwhelm with Knowledges in here. So this is where we're going to see some of the like really good synergy of the deck, where, okay, so we're going to, I think ChangePerspective is good, but I think I'd rather do Overwhelm with Knowledge because we have Penguin who's okay, and Penguin who is okay works with Overwhelm with Chase Your Dreams. Like, so yeah, so let's just do this play. So first we're going to do 1 Overwhelm with Knowledge and pull 1 Chase Your Dreams into our, so we're going to draw 1 card here and ice 2 cards. But we took 1 card out of our ice. So the net effect of this play with 2 of these in play is we will get basically remove 1 card from our ice, add 2 cards to our ice, and add 1 card to our hand, which is just overall just insane value for this deck, because like I said, we really want lots of cards in our ice. One thing about Bunkus is I think he's going to be running Put on a Show, so it would be great to keep Bunkus below 8, but I think that's just not realistic. So again, we also don't want to be winning the vibe check. And the reason we don't want to win the vibe check is, well, we want to draw 2 cards a turn. We don't really need more rods. This deck doesn't need more than 5 rods ever. I mean, maybe there's some niche situations. Oh, BrainyPenguin. BrainyPenguin is so strong with 2 Penguin who's okay on there. So our ice is just going to get so full. And so we can start thinking about next turn transitioning into the full removal plan. Like, but okay, so the other thing is, So my guess is he's playing Mega Penguin. So we should definitely save a, like I said, okay, put on a show. But this is not a problem at all for this deck. The reason is we can just play Bunkus next turn. Like, our ice already has 10 cards in it again. These PenguinWhoosOK are just going to keep the ice super full. So the reason I didn't play one more OverwhelmWithKnowledge there is, well, maybe that was a mistake, because we have BrainyPenguin in our hand, and so we'd actually probably want more cards to cycle BrainyPenguin with. And this is when we want to start really thinking about that removal game plan. Like, I just want to fully remove everything that they have. And so I think this turn we're going to use AdventureSquad to remove, and we're going to use ProsperousPenguin to remove. We also have GotEm. Well, GotEm can't remove anything. So I think we're going to actually play BrainyPenguin. We're going to get rid of ChangePerspective and GotEm, because we're going to keep the 2 pieces of removal. And I just want to call out this ChangePerspective. I think I kept this in the opening hand. So I am way too greedy with ChangePerspective. So I think this is not a card, like, don't do as I do, because this happens to me so frequently that happens. All right, so did I play a Rod yet? I think not, right? So let's play a Rod, and then let's play ProsperousPenguin and get out. I think we'll do the philosophical debate just because it's safer, in case he has like a GotEm. Although I don't think that this list runs GotEm. So now, do we want to just play a Bunkus? Yeah, let's play a Bunkus, because we could actually just win the game right now. So we need to put 11 cards. So let's do 11 cards. Okay, so we'll do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Okay. So yeah. So again, I was worried about the time. It's really an art form about what cards you put back with Bunkus. So yeah, so that was definitely a questionable. All right, so here's the Mega Penguin. So Mega Penguin's at 6. So now we can, I think we can win the game. No, we can't, because if we do the Mega Penguin, yeah, so let's remove the Mega Penguin. So we'll have a philosophical debate on it. So we'll do this. We'll choose the Mega Penguin, and we'll pay 2 Pudge. So now what's going to happen is they'll get to do it back to us. But I think it's maybe because they only have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cards in there. Because if they chose Bunkus, yeah, that was a mistake, because they're not going to have 12 cards in their ice to remove, because Bunkus has a really high fish card cost. So what I think would have been the right play is to get rid of, any other one of my penguins, because then that would have kept me off 14, I mean. But now, because Bunkus is going to win, yeah, because they were trying to. Oh wait, I get to put the 12 cards. So that this is definitely a bug, because it's not like I get to choose. So so I have to put 5. Oh, nope, never mind. I misplayed this, because basically now my Bunkus is going to die, because there's going to be nothing for the Bunkus, and that's going to take. Wow, that was a. So I should have used AdventureSquad, but if I use AdventureSquad. Wow. Okay, so that's honestly the first time I've played against Red Mega Penguin, but that was played very poorly on my part. Not the end of the world. I also regret passing initiative back to him, because I should have also played AdventureSquad now to take out the Red Penguin. It's maybe okay to have 1 piece of removal. So overall, I tried to close out the game there, and I should have just gone 1 turn slower, because now I have. Okay, so I'm going to AdventureSquad now in response. Well, what could they play? If they play another Mega Penguin, Yeah, I think I'd rather have the removal in my hand. Yeah, because I basically gave up my entire ice to try to end the game one turn earlier. And I think while it's always good to try to end the game as quickly as possible, that was just the net result of that is that I ended up in this situation. Now, I still think I'm in a very strong position, but it's definitely much weaker than it needed to be. Because now I just basically have to rebuild my ice. My penguins who are on the lift aren't going to be 8. I mean, let's play the Moonlit. We have 15. I think we'll be fine. We have 2 pieces of removal, but yeah. So that was a very, very sloppy end of the game. I'm not happy with it for sure. But that doesn't mean that it doesn't mean we won't win now. So yeah. Okay, but anyway, so we need to. All right, so let's think about what can happen. All right, so whatever he plays, if he plays something. So again, MoonlitPenguin is actually coming in very, very clutch with the 4 vibe in this situation. Again, so this is the second time today that I'm talking about how good MoonlitPenguin is. So I think maybe the cutting the 2 Mega Penguins and just going 4 Moonlits might actually be better, especially against these like faster decks. Mega Penguin really is good against green, but again, there's not a lot of green out there. And that's again why I talk about that as the flex spot. So I'm kind of leaning towards maybe cutting that. But yeah, I think the other thing is like that final slot is very flexible. Like I think that's really up to your playstyle as well. All right, so I think we're going to stop here for today. One other thing I just want to call out is I'm going to start so far I've been doing these deck guide videos. But what I want to do now is I'll also just keep adding additional gameplay videos on the decks I already did the deck guides for, because I really think only 1 or 2 games is not enough to really understand more about how the deck works. So I'm going to start that separate series of, I'll call those like gameplay videos that are going to be in parallel to the deck guide videos. And then I'm actually going to also start another series of videos called deck design videos, where I will not start with a deck list. Like I'm going to start with an idea, and then we're going to build the deck list together and just go through some games as I iterate. And these are going to be more conceptual decks that you're going to see. And the point of those is going to be to teach you more about my actual process for making a deck. Now, the one thing with those is they're not going to be as powerful lists because they're going to be way less refined. So anyway, thanks for watching to the end. And again, I'm going to have, if you want to request also specific decks for me to do, please just leave a comment on this video, or just find me in the Vibes Discord. I'm going to leave a link to the Vibes Discord as well. I'm very active there. Or you can at me on X. And other than that, yeah, if you like this content and you're not subscribed, please do that as well, because then you'll know when all my new videos come out. And yeah, I'm going to try to do a few a week. All right. Thank you, everyone.